Anna Smith, 29, an architect at a modest firm, felt a familiar knot tighten in her stomach as she straightened her simple black dress. 5 years. 5 long years since she'd walked away from the expectations of her family, the Smiths, and their world of rigid decorum. Tonight they were gathering at Orchid, one of the city's most exclusive restaurants, to celebrate her younger sister Lily's engagement. Anna's culinary dreams had always been dismissed, deemed beneath their family name. Little did they know how much had truly changed. Sometimes, she mused, the hardest reservations to make are with your own past. The embossed invitation had arrived days ago, a curious blend of formal elegance and implied obligation. What surprised her most was the location, Orchid, her own restaurant. Of course they couldn't know. They had likely chosen it for its exclusivity and impressive reputation, perfect for showcasing their status. After days of deliberation, she decided to accept, not to seek validation, but perhaps to finally close a chapter. 5 years of distance had given her perspective. She was secure enough in her success now to face them without crumbling under their judgment. The shadow of the past. Growing up in Willow Creek meant something very specific in Anna's family. The Whites weren't just wealthy, they were a legacy. Her parents, Margaret and Richard White, built their identities around status markers: the right address, the right schools, the right professions. Their sprawling colonial home hosted fundraisers where her mother would parade them children around like accessories, her pride directly proportional to how well they fit into her vision of success. The White children are destined for greatness, she'd tell her friends at garden parties, while her father nodded approvingly behind his whiskey tumbler. Lily's already set on Ivy League law, and Tom shows such promise in finance. He'll make an excellent investment banker. When guests inevitably turned to Anna, the middle child, her mother's smile would tighten almost imperceptibly. Anna has creative inclinations. She'll find her way. What she meant was that Anna was the family disappointment. While Lily excelled at debate club and Tom won math competitions, Anna spent hours in their housekeeper Isabella's domain, the sun-drenched conservatory. Isabella, a warm-hearted woman from Tuscany, recognized something in Anna that her parents couldn't: genuine passion. "You have the hands for this work," she'd say, as Anna helped her tend to the exotic orchids or precisely prune the rose bushes. "The way you see, the way you feel, you understand nature in your soul." By 13, Anna was designing her own small garden plots. By 16, she was orchestrating clandestine garden tours for her friends when her parents traveled. The conservatory became her sanctuary, the place where she felt most authentically herself. Gardening? A servant's work, her father declared when Anna mentioned landscape architecture school during her junior year of high school. Whites hire gardeners, they don't become them. To appease them, she applied to business schools, eventually attending Riverbend University, where her father and grandfather had gone. But even there, she found ways to nurture her true passion, taking botany electives and environmental science courses that she could justify as complementary to business administration. She started an underground green club in her apartment, charging students for innovative plant care workshops to fund her secret weekend apprenticeships with local botanists. Her double life continued until graduate school. She was 6 months into an MBA program that made her profoundly unhappy when Madame Dubois, a renowned landscape architect with numerous international awards, visited campus for a lecture series. After seeing her preliminary design for a university reception garden Anna had helped plan, Madame Dubois pulled her aside. "Who taught you to envision a space like this?" she asked, her accent thick but her eyes serious. "I taught myself," Anna admitted, "from books, observation, experimenting." Madame Dubois handed her a card. "You are wasting your talent here. Come to my studio in Metropolis. I will make you great." That night changed everything. The severance. 2 weeks later, Anna stood in her parents' immaculate living room, explaining why she was dropping out of her MBA program to attend landscape design school. The silence that followed her announcement was deafening. "This is absolutely unacceptable," her father finally said, his voice dangerously quiet. "We've invested everything in your education, everything." "Except respect for what I actually want," Anna countered. Her mother's face hardened. "If you pursue this hobby, you do it without our support, financial or otherwise." Lily, home from her first year of law school, laughed coldly. Always the rebel. "Let's see how long you last planting shrubs for minimum wage." Tom, already working at a prestigious financial firm, simply looked embarrassed for her. Anna left that night with nothing but her personal savings and a small suitcase. The next 5 years were harder than anything she'd known, working 18-hour days, living in a tiny apartment with 3 roommates, taking out loans for design school. But under Madame Dubois' mentorship, Anna thrived. The intensity of the studio, the discipline, the creativity, it fed something in her that business school never could. And then came the opportunity that would change everything. An investor who had seen her garden design at one of Dubois' events approached her about a business proposal. 2 years ago, Orchid opened its doors, with Anna as lead designer and partial owner. 6 months after that, she bought out her partners to become sole proprietor. The irony wasn't lost on her that she'd ended up using her business education after all, just not in the way her parents had intended. Orchid quickly became the most sought-after landscape design firm in the city, known for its unique blending of natural elements and urban sophistication. Last month, Garden and Home magazine featured them in their Future of Urban Oases issue. Through all of this, Anna maintained her distance from her family. Occasional stilted phone calls with her mother, holiday cards, but nothing substantial. They knew she was doing something with plants, but nothing about her actual success. She kept it that way intentionally. She wanted recognition for her accomplishments on her own terms, not as a way to finally earn their approval. The evening of revelations. The familiar scent of exotic blooms and damp earth enveloped Anna as she stepped through the grand glass doors of Orchid that evening. Usually, this aroma centered her, reminded her of everything she'd built. Tonight, it only intensified her anxiety. She'd chosen her outfit carefully, a simple black dress that was actually a designer piece, accessorized with a single strand of pearls that had belonged to her grandmother. Understated elegance that her status-conscious family would likely misread as trying too hard with limited means. Her hair was pulled back into a sleek chignon, another detail they would probably interpret as her not being able to afford a proper styling. Lucas, her most senior host, spotted her immediately, his eyes widening slightly in question. Anna rarely came in through the front entrance as a guest. She gave him a subtle shake of her head and mouthed, "Not yet." He nodded discreetly and continued with his duties. From the entryway, she could already see them. They had requested the central atrium table, of course they had, and were arranged like a tableau of affluence. Her mother in designer couture, her father examining the plant arrangement with exaggerated concentration. Lily, draped in what looked like new season luxury, next to her sat a man Anna didn't recognize. Mark, presumably, with slicked back hair and a watch that caught the light every time he moved his wrist. Tom and his wife Sarah completed the picture, both in business attire as though they'd come straight from important meetings. Celeste, her head hostess, approached with a warm smile. "Good evening, miss." She caught herself just in time. "Your party is already seated. May I show you to their table?" "Thank you, Celeste," Anna murmured, appreciating her discretion. As they approached, her mother noticed her first. Her eyes performed the quick assessment Anna remembered from childhood, a head-to-toe scan that calculated the approximate value of her appearance and found it wanting. "Anna, dear," she said, rising to air-kiss Anna's cheeks. "You finally arrived. We were beginning to wonder." "I'm exactly on time, Mother," Anna replied, checking her watch. 7:30 on the dot." Her father stood, giving her a stiff hug that ended with an awkward pat on the back. "You look healthy," he offered, which in white speak meant she hadn't maintained the borderline unhealthy slenderness prized in their social circle. Lily barely bothered to stand, offering her cheek for Anna to kiss. "This is Mark," she announced, as her fiancé rose and extended his hand. His grip was too firm, a power move Anna recognized from countless business meetings. "Princeton undergrad, Wharton MBA," he introduced himself. "Just made junior partner at Stellar Investments." "No, nice to meet you," or "I've heard about you," just credentials and status, the White family love language. Tom gave her a more genuine greeting, though his wife Sarah's smile seemed strained. Anna later learned she'd been the one tasked with finding this impressively exclusive restaurant for tonight's dinner, and she was nervous about whether it would meet everyone's standards. "Well," her mother said as Anna took the last empty seat, "we've already ordered champagne. I hope that's acceptable." Anna noticed they'd chosen the second most expensive option on their list, showy, but not reckless, typical. Around them, the restaurant hummed with the energy Anna had worked so hard to cultivate. The lighting was dim enough for intimacy, but bright enough to appreciate the artful plating of each dish. the sound level perfectly balanced conversation and privacy. The tables were spaced just so, close enough to create energy, far enough apart for discretion. Every detail had been Anna's decision, from the linen weight to the custom-designed chairs that encouraged diners to linger without becoming uncomfortable. She watched the staff's subtle reactions as they realized she was sitting with guests. Julian, their head sommelier, caught her eye as he approached with the champagne. The slightest raise of his eyebrow asked if she wanted him to acknowledge her. Anna gave an imperceptible shake of her head. "Excellent choice," he said to her father instead, presenting the bottle with practiced elegance before beginning to pour. "We're celebrating an engagement," her father announced unnecessarily, clearly hoping for special treatment. "Congratulations," Julian replied smoothly. "Orchid is honored to host such a special occasion." "I'm surprised you managed a reservation," Anna said innocently. "I've heard it's quite difficult." Mark leaned forward. "I know people," he said with a wink, so smug Anna had to suppress an eye roll. "Called in a favor with a client who's friendly with the management." Anna bit her tongue. The client was likely Mr. Sterling, one of their regular investors who occasionally requested tables for business associates. She made a mental note to speak with him about Mark. "Well, aren't you resourceful?" she murmured, raising her champagne flute. "To Lily and Mark," her father declared. "A perfect match and a brilliant future." They clinked glasses, and Anna took a small sip, noting that the champagne was served at the precise temperature she had trained her staff to maintain. "So, Anna," her mother began, setting down her glass and fixing Anna with her attention. "Tell us, what have you been up to these past few years? You've been so mysterious." The table's focus shifted to Anna, 5 pairs of eyes evaluating, ready to judge. "I've been working in landscape design," she said simply, learning, growing. "Still with that gardening phase?" Lily sighed as though Anna had admitted to a regrettable addiction. "I thought surely by now you'd have moved on to something more substantial." "Not everyone can handle the corporate path," Tom added, managing to make his defense sound like criticism. Mark looked confused. "What exactly do you do?" "Assistant, nursery worker, various roles," Anna answered vaguely. "I've worn many hats." "Well, we're just glad you're managing to support yourself," her mother said with a fake graciousness Anna knew so well, "though we've always said our door is open if things get too challenging." Anna noticed Sophia, one of their most experienced servers, approaching with the amuse-bouche, a bite-sized sphere of compressed watermelon topped with fermented black garlic and a microgreen Anna had sourced from a specialized urban farm. "Compliments of the kitchen," she announced, carefully placing one before each diner. Her eyes met Anna's briefly, a flash of loyalty before she slipped back into professional mode. "Is this all?" Lily asked, examining the single bite with disappointment. "I'm famished." "It's an amuse-bouche," Anna explained. "A palate opener. The meal hasn't actually started yet." "I know what an amuse-bouche is, Anna," Lily snapped. "I'm not culturally illiterate just because I chose law instead of playing with plants." Anna watched as they each tasted her creation. Her mother took the smallest possible bite, ever conscious of calories. Her father popped the whole thing in his mouth, barely pausing to taste it. Tom and Sarah at least seemed to appreciate it, while Mark made a show of analyzing the flavors like a wine connoisseur, using terms that made no culinary sense. Only Lily left hers untouched. "I don't do raw garlic," she declared, though the black garlic was far from raw. It had been fermented for 60 days in a temperature-controlled environment, a process Anna had perfected after 3 years of experimentation. As their server cleared the plates, Anna caught the flash of disappointment in Sophia's eyes at Lily's untouched creation. In that moment, Anna felt protective, not of herself, but of her staff, who took such pride in their work. She had built Orchid not just as a restaurant, but as a family of sorts, one bound by shared passion rather than DNA. The evening was just beginning, but already Anna could feel the old dynamic settling in. She was the outsider, the one who had chosen the wrong path, whose choices needed justification. But unlike the Anna of 5 years ago, she now sat at this table with a secret strength, one that would soon turn this entire dynamic on its head. "So tell us about the wedding plans," Anna said, deliberately shifting attention back to Lily as their first course arrived. A delicate composition of heirloom tomatoes, house-made ricotta, and basil oil that had taken Anna months to perfect for her rooftop garden restaurant. Lily brightened immediately. We've booked St. Agnes Chapel, of course. Reception at the Grand Plaza for 400 guests, though Mother thinks we should cut it to 350. The guest list is getting unwieldy. The Astor Williams aren't speaking to the Bennets since that unfortunate yacht incident, so we can't seat them in the same section, her mother interjected. Anna suppressed a smile. The gravity with which they discussed these social calculations never ceased to amaze her. 400 seems excessive, she ventured, taking a bite of the tomato dish. Mark leaned forward. It's networking, not just celebration. Half those invitations are relationship investments. Precisely, her father agreed. Mark understands the social capital aspect. A wedding of this caliber opens doors. And what about you, Anna? Lily asked, her tone suddenly sharp. Any prospects on your horizon, or are you still too busy with your gardening? Anna noticed she had barely touched her food, pushing the heirloom tomatoes around her plate with obvious disinterest. I'm focused on my career right now, Anna answered simply. Career? Tom repeated with a small laugh. Is that what we're calling it? Her mother jumped in. Anna, dear, surely by 29 you're thinking about settling down. There's that lovely son of Margaret Bentley's. He's in hospital administration, I believe. Very stable. I'm not looking to be set up, Mother. Well, your options will get more limited with each passing year, she persisted, especially in your situation. Before Anna could respond, their server appeared to clear the first course. Anna had barely registered the taste of her own creation, too tense to properly enjoy it. Is there a problem with the dish? Sophia asked Lily, noting her nearly full plate. Too acidic, Lily replied dismissively. And the tomatoes could have been riper. Anna bit her tongue. Those tomatoes had been selected at their peak that very morning from a farm upstate that grew specifically for Orchid. I'm so sorry to hear that, Sophia said with practiced diplomacy. I'll be sure to inform the kitchen. The second course arrived. Seared scallops with a brown butter emulsion and pickled ramps, a spring special Anna was particularly proud of. As the plates were set down, Anna watched her family's reactions. Now this looks promising, her father declared, cutting into his scallop with his fork. Mark swirled his wine, a Sauvignon Blanc Anna had personally selected to pair with this course. Decent wine list here. Not exceptional, but passable. Julian, their sommelier, overhearing this as he passed, shot Anna a quick glance. Anna gave him a subtle smile. Julian had been poached from a 3-star Michelin restaurant in Paris and had turned down offers from establishments around the world to work with her. So Anna, Sarah began, clearly trying to include her, Tom mentioned you're working with plants, but you never really specified what exactly you do. Before Anna could answer, Lily cut in. She's probably hostessing somewhere, right, Anna? Using that business degree to seat people and hand out menus. Actually, I started... No shame in that, her father interrupted. Everyone has to start somewhere, though after 5 years I would have expected some advancement. I've advanced, Anna said quietly. Into what? Assistant manager at Green Thumb Nursery? Lily laughed at her own joke. Lily, Tom warned, showing a rare moment of defense. What? I'm just being realistic. She chose to abandon her education for this passion project. Actions have consequences. Anna took a sip of wine, allowing the familiar notes to center her. And how is law treating you, Lily? Still at Sterling and Black? Her expression tightened. I'm between positions at the moment, actually, taking time to plan the wedding. She was working too many hours, Mark interjected. I told her, my wife doesn't need to kill herself at some firm. Once we're married, she can do charity work like my mother. Anna noticed the flash of something, resentment, frustration, in Lily's eyes, before she smoothed her expression back to placid agreement. The third course arrived, a pasta dish featuring hand-rolled tagliatelle with spring peas, pancetta, and mint, one of Orchid's signature dishes that had been featured in Garden and Home. The portion size here is ridiculous, her mother commented, looking at the artfully plated pasta. All this expense for 3 bites. It's about quality over quantity, Mother, Anna replied. The tasting menu is designed to take you through multiple flavors and textures. In my day, restaurants gave you a proper meal for your money, her father grumbled. This new cuisine nonsense is just a way to charge more for less food. Anna watched as Mark cut into his pasta, rather than twirling it, breaking the delicate strands Anna had rolled by hand that morning. So how exactly are you affording a place like this on a Landscape design salary? Lily asked bluntly. This is one of the most expensive restaurants in the city. Anna felt all eyes turn to her. I manage my finances carefully, she replied. Oh, please, Lily scoffed. A dinner here costs more than you probably make in a day. Who are you dating? Is he paying for this? I'm not dating anyone, Anna said evenly. Then how can you possibly afford this place? She pressed. Are you in debt? Maxing out credit cards to keep up appearances? Lily, Tom warned again, looking uncomfortable. No, I want to know, she insisted. We all rearranged our schedules for this dinner that she suggested at one of the most exclusive restaurants in the city. Either she's being financially irresponsible, or she's not being honest about her situation. The fourth course arrived, a perfectly cooked duck breast with cherry gastrique and farro. Chef Maria, who ran the kitchen when Anna wasn't overseeing the gardens, had executed it flawlessly. This duck is undercooked, Mark announced after one bite. Anna looked at his plate. The duck was a perfect medium rare, exactly as it should be. It's meant to be served that way, Anna explained. Medium rare is the optimal temperature for duck breast. I prefer my meat well done, he declared, motioning for a server. When Sophia approached, he spoke without looking at her. This is raw. Take it back and cook it properly. Anna saw the flash of annoyance in Sophia's eyes, quickly masked by professional courtesy. Of course, sir, my apologies. As she took his plate, Anna caught her eye and gave a slight nod. Sophia would know to have the kitchen prepare a new breast rather than ruining the existing one by overcooking it. Really, Anna, her mother said once Sophia had gone, you still haven't answered Lily's question. How are you affording this dinner? The tension at the table was palpable now. Anna could feel the familiar tightness in her chest, the same feeling she'd had during countless family dinners growing up. The sense of being cornered, judged, and found wanting before she'd even had a chance to speak. But Anna wasn't that same insecure young woman anymore. She had built something she was proud of, something that was entirely hers. For a moment she considered revealing everything right then, watching their expressions change as they realized whose restaurant they were sitting in, whose food they had been critiquing so carelessly. Before she could decide, Mark's overcooked duck returned, now lacking all the tenderness and complexity it had originally possessed. Much better, he declared after one bite, though Anna could see from across the table that it was now dry and tough. Her father signaled for the wine list again. Let's order another bottle. Something more impressive this time. As Julian approached with the leather-bound list, her father made a show of examining it, finally pointing to one of their most expensive options, a Bordeaux priced at over $800. This one should be adequate, he declared. Anna knew that bottle intimately. She had selected it during a trip to France last year, meeting with the vintner personally. It was spectacular, but completely wrong for the current course and the ones to follow. May I suggest something that might pair better with the remaining dishes? Anna ventured. Her father waved her off. I think I know my wines, Anna. Julian caught her eye, silently asking for direction. Anna gave him a small nod. Let her father have his way. This wasn't the hill to die on. As the evening progressed through the final savory course and into dessert, a deconstructed lemon tart that was one of Anna's personal favorites, the jabs continued. Every dish met with some criticism, every attempt Anna made to contribute to the conversation, somehow twisted into evidence of her failure. By the time coffee was served, Anna felt emotionally drained. The double burden of enduring her family's condescension, while watching them thoughtlessly critique her life's work, was becoming unbearable. Then came the moment Anna had been both dreading and anticipating, the check. Lucas approached with the black leather folder containing the bill, placing it discreetly in the center of the table. Her father reached for it immediately, a reflex of patriarchal duty, but Mark intercepted. Please, Richard, allow me, he said with the practiced smoothness of someone who has turned even generosity into a power move. Consider it my treat to celebrate the occasion. Her father made the expected token protest before acquiescing. Anna watched as Mark opened the folder, his expression shifting from confident smile to barely concealed shock as he registered the total. Is there a problem? Her father asked, noticing the change. No, Mark recovered quickly, just confirming the calculation. Anna knew exactly what he was looking at. A dinner for 7 with premium wine pairings, special off-menu requests, and that $800 Bordeaux would run well over $3,000. not outrageous for a restaurant of Orchid's caliber, but certainly a statement. He reached for his wallet, extracting a black credit card with deliberate slowness, making sure everyone noticed the exclusive tier. Lily, perhaps sensing his discomfort, chose that moment to circle back to her earlier interrogation. "So, Anna," she said, her voice dripping with false sweetness, "you never did explain how you're managing to contribute to this extravagant dinner. We wouldn't want you stretching yourself financially on our account." All eyes turned to Anna again. She could feel the familiar dynamic asserting itself. Lily, the successful one. Anna, the struggling disappointment. "I can cover my portion," Anna said simply. "Can you, though?" she pressed, leaning forward. "Because we all know what landscape design pays. Can you even afford this place?" The table fell silent. The question hung in the air, so deliberately insulting that even her parents looked uncomfortable. "Lily," her mother murmured, "perhaps this isn't—" "No, I want to know," Lily insisted, eyes locked on Anna's. "We've spent the entire evening pretending that everything's fine, that Anna's choice to throw away her education hasn't left her struggling. I think we deserve some honesty." Anna felt a hot flush rising from her chest to her face. 5 years of distance, of building her own life and success, and nothing had changed. She was still the family disappointment, still being asked to justify her existence. Mark, perhaps sensing an opportunity to reassert control after the check shock, joined in. "If you need help with your portion, just say so. No shame in that." "I don't need help," Anna said, her voice tight. "Then how exactly are you paying for this?" Lily demanded. "A meal here costs more than you probably make in a week." Anna opened her mouth to respond, to finally reveal everything, when Mark suddenly frowned at the bill. "Wait, there's a mistake here," he announced. "They've only charged us for the wines, not the food." He signaled sharply for Lucas. "Excuse me, there's an error on our check." Lucas approached their table with perfect timing, as though he'd been waiting for this moment. In reality, he probably had been. Her staff knew her well enough to be watching this drama unfold. "Is there a problem, sir?" he asked. "Yes, you've only charged us for the beverages, not the meal," Mark said, pointing at the bill. Lucas looked at the check, then at Anna, his expression questioning. In that moment, Anna made her decision. The charade had gone on long enough. She gave Lucas a slight nod. "There's no error, sir," Lucas said smoothly. "The dinner portion has been taken care of." "By whom?" her father asked, frowning. Lucas turned to Anna, his professional demeanor giving way to a warm smile. "Welcome back, Miss Anna. Your usual table is ready for your meeting with the investors. Would you like me to handle the situation first?" The silence that fell over the table was absolute. 6 pairs of eyes turned to Anna in various stages of confusion and disbelief. "Thank you, Lucas," Anna said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her. "Yes, please close out Mr. Harrington's beverage tab. The rest is on the house, as usual." "Very good, Miss Anna," he replied, taking the folder from Mark's now slack grip. "Chef Maria mentioned she'd like your opinion on the new spring garden additions when you have a moment." "I'll stop by the greenhouse before my meeting," Anna assured him. As Lucas departed, Anna finally looked directly at her family. Their expressions ranged from confusion to shock to the first dawning of understanding. What is happening?" her mother finally managed. Anna took a deep breath. The moment she had both dreaded and secretly anticipated for 5 years had arrived. "Welcome to Orchid," Anna said simply. "My restaurant." The silence stretched for what felt like an eternity. Her father was the first to recover, his expression shifting from confusion to calculation. "Your restaurant?" he repeated carefully. "You work here?" "No, father," Anna clarified, feeling a strange calm settle over her. "I own Orchid. I'm the lead designer and sole proprietor." "That's impossible," Lily blurted. "This is one of the most exclusive restaurants in the city. It's been featured in major magazines." "Yes," Anna agreed. "Garden and Home last month. Architectural Digest before that. The Metropolis Times gave us 5 stars in their review last year." Mark was staring at Anna as though she'd suddenly started speaking in tongues. But you said you worked in plants." "You were vague about everything." "Because I wanted to see how you would treat me if you thought I was struggling," Anna explained. "And you've all made that abundantly clear tonight." Her mother's hand fluttered to her pearls, her go-to gesture when socially destabilized. "Darling, why wouldn't you tell us about this achievement?" The way she emphasized achievement spoke volumes. Success made Anna's choices retroactively acceptable in a way passion alone never could. Would you like the full story? Anna asked, looking around the table. Without waiting for an answer, she continued. After I left 5 years ago, I moved to Metropolis with what little savings I had. I rented a tiny room in an apartment with 3 roommates in Queens. For the first year, I worked 3 jobs: nursery assistant from 5 a.m. to noon, landscape crew worker at a city park from 1 p.m. to 10 p.m., and weekend shifts at a floral shop. Anna took a sip of water, noting their uncomfortable expressions. I slept 4 hours a night. I had blisters and cuts up and down my arms. I studied technique obsessively in my rare free moments. Madame Dubois, who had initially encouraged me to pursue landscape arts, took me under her wing. I became her junior designer within 18 months. Tom was watching Anna with what appeared to be genuine interest. Sarah looked impressed. Her parents seemed frozen in a state of reassessment. 2.5 years ago, I was working on a private event for Dubois' studio. A client, Mr. Davison of Davison Capital, saw my conceptual design for a rooftop garden and asked to meet the designer. He was surprised to find someone so young had created what he called the most innovative urban oasis he'd seen in years. Anna gestured around them. Mr. Davison became my first investor. We found this space, which was a failed urban farm at the time. I developed the concept, designed the entire layout, hired the staff, oversaw every detail from the lighting fixtures to the custom-designed planters. But the cost, her father said, his mind still seemingly stuck on the finances. A restaurant of this caliber, in this location, it must have required millions. 3.4 million for the initial investment, Anna confirmed. Mr. Davison brought in 2 other investors. We opened to immediate acclaim, partly due to Dubois' endorsement and industry connections. 6 months in, we were profitable. 3 months after that, I used the restaurant's success to secure a loan and buy out my investors. I've been sole owner for over a year now. That's why you suggested we meet here, Lily realized, her voice small. You knew all along. Actually, no, Anna corrected her. Sarah chose this restaurant, isn't that right, Sarah? All eyes turned to Tom's wife, who blushed deeply. I had no idea, Anna. The concierge at Tom's firm recommended it as the most impressive new restaurant in the city. I swear I didn't know it was yours. Of course you didn't, Anna assured her. No one in the family knew. That was deliberate on my part. But why keep it secret? Her mother pressed. We're your family. We would have been proud. Anna couldn't help the sharp laugh that escaped her. Would you? The same family who called gardening servants' work? Who cut me off completely when I chose design school? Who just minutes ago were making snide comments about my life choices? Her father cleared his throat. Now, Anna, that's unfair. We were concerned about your stability, your future. If we'd known you had this kind of business acumen... That's exactly my point, Anna interrupted. You couldn't respect my passion alone. It only has value to you now that it comes with success and status. At that moment, Chef Maria approached their table in her crisp whites, with Maria Torres, chef de cuisine, embroidered on the breast. She made an impressive figure. Sorry to interrupt, Anna, she said, but the Sterling party has arrived for their tasting, and Julian wants to confirm your interview for next week's feature. Also, your publisher called about the landscape design book cover design. Anna nodded. Thank you, Maria. Please tell them I'll be there shortly. As Maria departed, Anna registered the growing amazement on her family's faces. Landscape design book? Lily echoed. Coming out this fall with Bloom Publishing, Anna confirmed. 120 designs with personal stories. Anna, dear, her mother began, her voice taking on the coaxing tone she used when trying to manage a social situation. This is all so impressive. Why didn't you tell us sooner? We could have helped, supported you. The way you supported me when I needed it most? Anna asked quietly, by cutting me off completely. We thought it was a phase, her father protested. How were we to know you had this level of entrepreneurial spirit? You've clearly inherited my business sense. Anna felt a flash of anger at his attempt to claim credit for her success. I built this myself, she said firmly, without your connections, your money, or your support. Mark, who had been suspiciously quiet, suddenly perked up. A landscape design book deal? That must come with a substantial advance. And this place, he gestured around appreciatively, his earlier criticisms forgotten. It must generate significant revenue. Do you have plans for expansion? Perhaps a design group? I have some contacts in hospitality investment who might be interested. Anna couldn't help but laugh at the transparency of this pivot from condescension to networking opportunity. I'm doing quite well with my current advisors, but thank you, she said. Lily shot him a look of irritation before turning back to Anna. So, all this time, while I thought you were struggling, you were actually succeeding? Building all this? Yes, Anna said simply. And tonight, she continued, her voice hardening, you let us sit here criticizing your food, your wine list, your portion sizes, all while knowing it was yours. I wanted to see how you would treat me if you thought I was still the family. Failure, Anna explained. And now I know. That seems manipulative, Lily snapped, but Anna could see the embarrassment behind her anger. More manipulative than asking how I could afford to eat here, then suggesting I must be in debt or dating someone wealthy to afford a meal at this table, Anna countered. You weren't concerned about me, Lily. You were enjoying what you thought was your superiority. The restaurant had gradually emptied as they talked, the evening service winding down. Julian approached with a bottle. Your special reserve sparkling cider, Miss Anna, he said, for your investors' meeting, and Chef Maria says the kitchen is ready whenever you are. Thank you, Julian, Anna replied. Please let Maria know I'll be there in 10 minutes. As he left, Anna turned back to her stunned family. I have a business to run, she said, rising from her seat. Thank you for coming this evening. Anna, wait, her mother said quickly. Don't leave like this. We should celebrate your success. Perhaps we could all have brunch this weekend? Catch up properly. Anna looked at her, seeing for the first time not the intimidating figure of her childhood, but simply a woman trying to salvage her pride and position. I'll think about it, Anna said. But right now, I have investors waiting and a garden to oversee. As she turned to leave, Tom stood up. Anna, he said, his voice quieter than the others. For what it's worth, this is incredible. What you've built here, it's remarkable. I'm sorry for not supporting you sooner. Of all the reactions, his felt the most genuine. Anna gave him a small nod of acknowledgement before walking away from the table where she had just changed the dynamics of her family forever. She had barely made it 10 steps when she heard the click of heels behind her. Turning, she found her mother hurrying to catch up, her perfectly composed facade beginning to crack. Anna, please, she said, lowering her voice. You can't just drop this revelation and walk away. We need to talk about this. Anna glanced toward the private dining room where her actual investors, a group discussing funding her second restaurant concept, were waiting. I have a meeting, Mother. Postpone it, she insisted. This is family. Family hasn't been a priority for you in 5 years, Anna replied, keeping her voice steady. My business commitments don't suddenly become optional because you finally decided my career is worthy of your attention. The rest of the family had followed her, creating an awkward cluster near the bar area. Her father looked distinctly uncomfortable, unused to not being in control of a situation. Lily's expression wavered between resentment and something that might have been respect. Perhaps we could continue this conversation tomorrow, her father suggested in his problem-solving business tone. Dinner at our place? We have much to discuss, including how we might help you expand. Mark's firm specializes in... I don't need your help, Anna interrupted firmly. I didn't build this place to finally win your approval. I built it because this is what I love, what I'm good at. The fact that it's successful doesn't suddenly make my passion more valid than it was 5 years ago. No one is saying that, darling, her mother backpedaled. We're simply proud of what you've accomplished. Are you proud, Mother, or are you relieved that my choices no longer embarrass you socially? Her flinch told Anna she'd hit close to home. That's unfair, her father interjected. We've always wanted what's best for you. No, Anna corrected him. You wanted what aligned with your vision for me. There's a difference. Maria appeared at Anna's side, her presence a welcome support. The Elmwood group is asking if you'll be joining them soon, she said quietly. 5 minutes, Anna promised her. As Maria nodded and stepped away, Anna turned back to her family. I need to go. Anna, Lily stepped forward, her voice lacking its usual sharp edge. I owe you an apology. The things I said tonight, they were unkind. They were honest, Anna replied. That's the silver lining of this evening. I got to see exactly how you all view me when you think I'm struggling. That's not fair, Tom said, joining the conversation. People make judgments based on the information they have. We didn't know. You didn't know I was successful, Anna clarified. But you didn't know I was pursuing something I loved. That should have been enough for my family to show basic respect. A heavy silence fell over the group. You're right, her father finally said, surprising Anna. We should have supported your passion regardless of its outcome. Coming from him, this admission was significant. Richard White didn't acknowledge mistakes easily. Where do we go from here? Her mother asked, genuine uncertainty in her voice, another rarity. Anna took a deep breath, considering the question. Despite everything, these people were her family. The hurt they'd caused was real, but so was their shared history. Complete estrangement had never been her goal, just enough distance to build her own life without their judgment clouding her decisions. I don't know yet, Anna answered honestly. But tonight has made one thing clear. If we're going to have any relationship moving forward, it needs to be on different terms. I'm not the family failure seeking redemption. I'm a successful landscape designer and business owner who deserves the same respect you'd give any other professional. Of course, her father agreed quickly. And that means no more comments about my life choices, no more unsolicited career advice, and absolutely no attempts to network through my restaurant, Anna added with a pointed look at Mark, who had the grace to look embarrassed. About Lily's wedding, her mother began tentatively. What about it? We'd still like you to be there, Lily said, her voice softening. As my sister, not as whatever we thought you were before tonight. Anna looked at her, trying to see past the years of competition and judgment. Despite everything, there had been good times too, secrets shared as children, supporting each other through their first heartbreaks, inside jokes no one else understood. I'll be there, Anna promised. Then, after a moment's consideration, she added, and if you'd like, I could host a dinner for the wedding party here at Orchid, as my gift. Lily's eyes widened. You would do that? After how we've treated you. You're still my sister, Anna said simply, but to be clear, this isn't me seeking your approval. It's me offering something I'm proud of, on my own terms. I understand, she said quietly. And I would be honored. A genuine smile, the first of the evening, passed between them. Now I really do need to go, Anna said, gesturing toward the private dining room. Of course, her father nodded. Your business comes first. Not always, Anna corrected him. But tonight, yes. As they gathered their things to leave, Anna added, I'm free for brunch on Sunday, not at your club, though. There's a small place in the East Village called the Green Corner I think you should experience. We'll be there, her mother promised, looking relieved at this small opening. Anna watched them file out of the restaurant, their perspectives irrevocably changed. As the door closed behind them, Anna let out a long breath, feeling oddly lighter. Maria approached again. Everything okay? Getting there, Anna replied. Family is complicated. Tell me about it, Maria laughed. My mother still introduces me as her daughter who works at a restaurant like I'm a teenage waitress at a diner. Anna smiled, grateful for her understanding. Let's go talk spring menu. I have some new ideas I'm excited about. As they walked toward the greenhouse, Anna's sanctuary, her achievement, her true home, she realized that the most important revelation of the evening wasn't showing her family what she'd built. It was fully recognizing it herself. She had created this success on her own terms, regardless of their approval, and that knowledge was worth more than any validation they could ever offer. 2 weeks passed like a whirlwind. Spring garden planning, meetings with her publisher about the design book layout, and preliminary discussions about a potential second location kept her gratefully busy. But thoughts of that family dinner remained, surfacing in quiet moments, demanding reflection. Sunday brunch had gone surprisingly well. Anna had taken her family to the Green Corner, a hole-in-the-wall gem run by a former colleague from her early days working on landscaping projects. Her parents had been visibly uncomfortable at first with the mismatched chairs and plant-covered walls, but the food, unpretentious yet masterfully executed, had won them over. I never knew simple greens could taste like this, her father had admitted, mopping up the last of his vegetable frittata with homemade sourdough. Small steps, not a complete transformation, but an opening. Now, sitting at her usual table after closing time, Anna watched the staff complete their final duties. Sophia was counting the register while humming softly. Lucas and Julian were discussing plant pairings for tomorrow's private event. Maria had left an hour ago after they'd finalized the spring garden revisions. Her phone buzzed with a text from Lily. "Wedding planning nightmare. Florists just doubled their quote. Any chance you're free for coffee tomorrow?" "Could use some straight talk from someone who won't just tell me what I want to hear." Anna smiled slightly at this unexpected request for her opinion. "Another small step," she texted back, confirming a time and place. The relationship with her family was evolving into something Anna couldn't have predicted. Not the unconditional embrace she might have once craved, but something potentially more valuable. A measured respect between adults with different values and paths. Her mother had called 3 times in the past 2 weeks, her usual formality softening into genuine questions about Anna's work. Her father had sent an article about female landscape designers breaking barriers in the industry, a silent acknowledgement that he was trying to understand her world. Even Tom had reached out, asking if he could bring his children to see the greenhouse sometime. "I want them to know they have options," he'd said, "that success doesn't have to look the same for everyone." These were fragile beginnings, not the dramatic reconciliation of a Hollywood movie. Real healing, Anna was learning, happens in quiet moments and small gestures, in the gradual rewriting of old patterns. The most significant change, though, wasn't in her family's perception of her, but in how she had finally stopped measuring her worth through their eyes. The validation she had once desperately sought from them now felt strangely unnecessary. She had proven herself not to them, but to herself. This realization had rippled through other areas of her life as well. She'd launched a mentorship program for young designers from disadvantaged backgrounds, offering them the guidance and opportunity she had fought so hard to find. Every Saturday morning, the Orchid greenhouse transformed into a classroom for 8 aspiring landscape artists who reminded Anna of her younger self, passionate, determined, in need only of someone who believed in their potential. One of them, Chloe, had shown such promise that Anna had offered her an apprenticeship. Watching her confidence grow with each new skill mastered brought a satisfaction different from any professional accolade she'd received. "Anna," Sophia's voice pulled her from her thoughts. "We're all set for closing. Anything else you need before we head out?" "No, thank you," Anna smiled. "You all did amazing work tonight." As the staff filed out, calling their goodnights, Anna remained at her table, notebook open to a blank page. She'd been trying to articulate the introduction to her landscape design book, struggling to find words that captured her journey. In the quiet of the empty restaurant, she finally began to write. "Nature has always been my truest language. When words failed, I spoke through landscapes. When paths seemed unclear, I followed the roots. The designs in this book are more than plans. They're chapters of a life lived in pursuit of authenticity rather than approval. 5 years ago, I stood at a crossroads between expectation and passion. Choosing the latter cost me dearly at first, but ultimately led to the richest garden I could have imagined. Not merely in professional success, but in the discovery that true wealth isn't measured by external validation or material achievement, but by the courage to honor your own voice, even when it speaks in whispers against the shouts of doubt." She set down her pen, the words finally flowing freely. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, a difficult vendor negotiation, Lily's wedding planning drama, finalizing the design book introduction, but tonight, in this moment of quiet reflection, Anna felt a profound sense of peace. The journey hadn't been easy. There had been nights of exhaustion so complete she'd fallen asleep in greenhouse corners during rare breaks, cuts and scrapes that left scars still visible on her hands. Moments of doubt so intense she'd questioned everything. But she had persevered, not because she needed to prove her worth to others, but because she couldn't imagine living any other way. In choosing authenticity over approval, Anna had found something more valuable than either success or family validation. She had found herself.